What's going on, Hobby Lobby? It's your boy, Javier. Make sure you say it twice. I'm going to jump straight into the conversation, but a few quick updates just to let you know where we at. The YouTube studio is coming along just fine. I'm happy so far with what I'm trying to do. I got some ideas in my head, and hopefully I can implement them in the way that I want. But I've been posting a few videos here and there to kind of give people a little bit of the process and what's actually taking on. So be on the lookout for that, and wish me luck. Also, I want to point out that I will be on the Godless Granny channel on YouTube on a panel talking about the after effects of the Derek Chauvin trial. And I'm actually doing that today. So I'm actually going to make a short video, and I figured this would be a good topic to touch on. And I'll definitely go back into this topic much more in the future. But with that out of the way, let's get into what you actually came here for. Am I a deist? Now, many of you probably already know that I'm an atheist. And when I say deist, I mean with a D, capital D, not a TH, right? There's a difference. Just to spell it out real quick, a deist is someone who may possibly believe that there is a higher power, some kind of first mover who created the universe and all things that exist, and doesn't get involved in the day-to-day life of ordinary people in this universe or aliens or whatever you might want to think exists in this matter-filled galaxy or whatever. But that's pretty much the deistic argument in a nutshell. And the theistic argument is that there is a higher power, may it be God or gods or goddesses, and that these actual beings and entities have an interest in how we live, what we eat, who we have sex with, and so forth and so on. You pretty much already are familiar mainly with the theistic arguments, right? So if I'm an atheist, does that make me a deist? I don't use that term. Most people don't use that term. Now, if you recall that earlier in some of my videos, I've made the claim, and sometimes I get pushback on it, but this is my honest belief. Sometimes I get in my mind knowing that I cannot disprove a God. You cannot disprove a negative, right? We agree on that. But where I do find a problem is saying that I believe there is no gods. Now, there are people who will say that atheists believe there is no God. And the reason I don't accept that as a definition is because I'm an atheist. I'm not a deist. Now, there's a difference. I can say that I don't believe in your God. If you're talking about the Christian God, if you're talking about the Muslim God, the Jewish God, the Hindu gods and goddesses and so forth and so on, Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology, you already know the list, right? But before I go any further, please, if you're new to the channel, go ahead, smash that subscribe button right now. Hit it, hit it, hit it. I'm almost up to 700 subscribers. I'm really going to get there to that 1,000 subscriber, and I can't do it without your help. I really appreciate all of you who have subscribed so far, hitting those like buttons every time I put out a video, giving me your comments and feedback. I really appreciate it, and you cannot begin to understand how thankful I am. Now, the reason I don't call myself an atheist is because I could never know. It's a high possibility that there is some kind of first mover, some kind of supernatural being, or however you want to describe it. It doesn't even have to be supernatural. It could just be some being that is more powerful or that orchestrated the entire universe. I can never disprove that, nor does it seem like we could actually prove it. So one could say, why deal with it at all? And it's purely philosophical, right? You don't have to make up your mind whether you believe there is a first mover or not. But if you are somebody who's interested in the truth and actually talking about ideas and trying to figure out how the universe actually works, how it came to be, and what we can understand as human beings, then this is a good question to ask. Now, I named this video, Am I a Deist? Are you? And the reason I said that is because I have a problem with the argument of the first mover. It's something that I have not been able to figure out on my own. I've thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it. I've even had discussions with other Christians on this show to see if I could actually wrestle with the first mover. For those of you who are not familiar with the argument, every cause and effect, the universe works off of cause and effect. Every effect that we have, we know that it has to have a previous cause in order for it to happen. And that cause had to have a cause, so forth and so on until you get into an infinite regression. At some point, you have to get to something that was not caused. Now, the problem that I still reserve on this issue is Everything in the universe is made out of matter. When we use these arguments that everything that came into existence had to first have a cause, well, if we're being technical, the only thing that we know of at this moment that ever had a beginning is the universe. Now, hear me out. Everything else is just matter. Matter can be transformed. It can never be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed. Now, if you want to say that this bed, for example, came into being, right? Well, that's just a concept in our head. It's all just matter, just being transformed or manipulated into a different state of being. But it's still the same material that the universe is made out of. We're made out of stardust. So there is nothing right now that I see that began to exist that didn't exist at the beginning of the universe, right? So these ideas, when does a tree become a chair? These are the kind of questions that I wrestle with. And it's only what we imagine in our brain, the philosophical concepts and the labels that we put on things that make it change from one thing to another. And we call it something else. But if humans didn't exist on the planet, if no animals existed on the planet, we wouldn't label something a chair. We wouldn't label something a bed. Even if it was in this, it would still just be matter. It would just be a part of the universe. And we're all part of the universe. So I take pause when we start talking about everything that we know had to have a cause. Because the only thing that we truly know that began to exist is the universe. And we're not even 100% sure that the universe actually began to exist. We know that the Big Bang happened, and that's when the universe actually expanded. But we don't know what happened before the Big Bang. We don't know what that condensed state of matter or whatever, what it was, what it existed, what exists outside of the universe. Is it a part of that? We don't know. But I'm willing to say I don't know. But the problem I have here is I still cannot sleep well knowing that where does the first cause come from? There has to be a first cause. And I wrestle with this. Now, somebody could say there doesn't have to be a first cause. Or what if the universe itself is the first cause of itself? I mean, there are so many different thoughts that you could try to throw out. But realistically speaking, where does it all come from? And I would never make the argument that something came from nothing, because first of all, you have to prove to me nothing exists. And what is nothing? And I'm not going to go down that route of Lawrence Krauss saying that, oh, well, nothing truly isn't nothing. And I'm not going to go down the philosophical route where nothing means no thing. Because even if you talk about the philosophical nothing, no thing, then you still have to deal with the fact is, when have you ever presented something that is a no thing? Like, everything is something. Everything that we've ever experienced, everything that we always know is something. Even right now in front of me, there are air molecules and particles in the air that I just can't see with my eye. You can't call that nothing. To truly find a state of nothing, you probably couldn't. It's just a concept in our mind. And until somebody can demonstrate what nothing truly is, how can I ever say that something can't come from nothing if I don't know nothing can exist in the first place? All right. Now, I hope y'all following me on this. And I'm finna wrap it up. The reason that I say, if we assume that there is a cause to whatever exists, how did it get here? How did existence begin in the first place? I don't know. And because I don't know, I personally, I'm not comfortable saying that there isn't something out there, maybe intelligent, that caused all of this. And I just can't explain how that thing exists in the first place. And we don't want to run into an infinite regression. So am I a deist? Yes and no. I am and I'm not. And the reason I say I am and I'm not, to put the cherry on top of this, is there could possibly be a first mover. And I just don't have any evidence to back it up. There is no evidence right now pointing me to a first mover. But also, it's possible. And if it's possible, I would imagine that if there is a God or a goddess or something that is beyond all of this, how much interest would it actually have in us? That's where I find the hard part. And it makes sense. If there is a God, I don't think they would really care about who I slept with or, when I prayed. I really honestly don't, I can't get anything past that. So I could stop at deism, or I could just stay an atheist. Whatever the case may be is, I cannot disprove deism, but I can disprove theism based on what we know about the world and the claims that that actual theistic religion claims are. With that being said, thank you so much. If you made it to the end of this video, you a soldier, you are a part of the Javier lobby, you are the truth, you are the greatest. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And if you enjoyed this, please smash that like button. Upvote, upvote, upvote. And subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified of all my future videos. Thank you so much for watching. Share this video to a loved one, somebody who's interested in religious conversation, deism, theism, and philosophy. People who think about these things, care about these things, the true intellectuals out there. Please, please. And let me hear your comments below and tell me what you thought about this video. What do you think I got it wrong? What do you think I got it right? Am I missing something? Please. All comments are welcome, and I'll do my best to try to respond to those people who actually comment. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, peace and glory.
1 in a million to one villain. Too hot to be in the kitchen. I'll end up melting the ceiling.